This brings me to the highlight of this evening, the introduction of Ms. Tawakkol Karman, Yemeni journalist, human rights activist, and the first Arab woman to become a Nobel Peace Laureate in 2011. Ms. Karman came forward as a courageous leadership figure during the Arab Spring in 2011. She was praised for her efforts against tyranny in the Arab world and for promoting reconciliation between Shia and Sunni Muslims, countering terrorism and fostering dialogue between Islam and other religions. Ms. Karman's extensive influence is recognized globally. Time magazine listed her as one of the most influential women of the past century, featuring her on the cover of the 100-Strong Women in the World issue as a torchbearer of the Arab Spring. She's also recognized by Foreign Policy magazine as one of the top 100 global thinkers and named among the most powerful women by many international media outlets and organizations such as CNN, the BBC, and Reporters Without Borders. The former UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, appointed her to the high-level panel of eminent persons on the post-2015 development agenda. She serves on the boards of several key international institutions and organizations, including the Nobel Women's Initiative. Her Tawakkol Karman Foundation plays an important role in development by building schools, fighting poverty, and supporting health institutions in Yemen. I now welcome Ms. Tawakkol Karman to present the 12th Frederick van Zyl-Slabbert Honorary Lecture. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you, thank you. Hi. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Peace be upon all of you. Koi a not molo. Did I molo? Molo. Okay, good night. Let me give my husband this telephone because it's bothering me with my great husband. Okay, I'm so happy to be here again in South Africa. As I said yesterday, and I always say that I consider this my country, my second country, even before I visited it, because I felt in every suffering of people here, and I read about your suffering before, and my hero was and is still Nelson Mandela. So I remember when I started my journey on peaceful struggle and peaceful resistance, I put his photo in my room, in my office, with Mahatma Gandhi and with Martin Luther King. And also, I'm so proud that also in this country, our Bishop Desmond Tutu, also one of the most important also people that inspire me how to speak, how to fight for freedom, and how to act peacefully. So thank you, Southern African, for give all the human beings this a very big, great gift. So when I got the invitation to talk about reflecting on 30 years of democracy in South Africa, how can African youth demonstrate citizen leadership through constitution? I said, yes, I like this topic. I really like it very much. Why? Because that is exactly what I did during my journey on fighting for human rights. This is exactly what I did when I decided to be a human rights activist, when I decided to be a good citizen for my country, when I decided to be a good journalist. So the first thing that I was looking for, what is the things that I can take and make it as my reference during my vision, during my work to achieve the dream of my people and my dream for freedom, justice, democracy, and rule of law. And I saw our constitution, the Yemen constitution. So Yemen constitution, regardless all the shortages inside it, but because it was written as a result of the unification between North and South, North Yemen and South Yemen, the founders of this constitution wrote a very important things, very important rights. So this is that the Yemeni constitution was a result of a great unification between North and South Yemen. And one of the best things that Yemen constitution included was the rights, the most important rights, expression rights, the right of assembly, and this is the most important thing for every citizen. Expression right and right of assembly, because through these two rights, you can practice other rights. If those two rights was taken from any citizens, directly other rights will be also taken as a result. We didn't have other rights in my country, but with that important two rights, I said, okay, I had these important rights in the constitution, so I can practice them. Regardless if the government accept or if the government didn't accept. I'm using my right, my constitution right. So because of that, I started my journey as a journalist with a very, very strong articles against the dictator. And when anyone tried to blame me, no, I'm using my constitutional rights. Because of that, I established my organization called Women Journalists Without Borders at that time. And by the way, I was young, like most of you. And I'm still young now. So, when I started my organization, Women Journalists Without Borders, the authoritarian government, the president himself, the dictator himself, was very afraid and very upset. He said, wow, she's making a lot of trouble while she is just a journalist. What about now, if she is planning and establishing an international organization called Women Journalists Without Borders? We took our license at the time, but when they realized, they took the government, closed the organization and took the license. But I said, and they told me, if you want to establish organization, make another organization, not this organization. Not for women, not for journalists, and not without borders. Okay, and please come to us. And they called me, by the way, by the national security. And come, we can help you to establish this new organization, and we can even finance you. and we will give you a new license. I tell them, no. I don't need you. I don't need your license. And whether you give me the license or you don't give me the license, I'm practicing my constitutional right. So I established a new organization called Women Journalists Without Chains. And when we talk about freedom of expression, we talk about freedom to speak, to write, to print, to own your media outlets, and also to practice demonstration, sit-ins, movements. And I practiced this also, demonstrations and sit-ins. And they told me, please, you have to give us, you have just take the license like what the law said. This law said that you have to take permission from the government, from the security, to make sit-ins and or demonstrations. I told them, am I crazy to take your permission? First, you will not give me this permission. Second, you will let me help you in limiting my rights, my constitutional rights. The constitutional rights told me that I have just to tell you, not to take the permission. Just to send you that we are going to this place or that place for this sit-in, or for this demonstration, so you can do your work and your duty on preserving and providing security for the demonstrators. So I will not ask permission from you. And I will not do the same thing that political parties are doing, because most of the political parties is supporting you in indirectly way, even they are opposition, because they are accepting this kind of putting limitation on the Constitution. Then I made a lot of sit-ins, demonstrations every Tuesday in front of the cabinet, every Tuesday. Since 2006 until 2011, when we announced the peaceful revolution in Yemen. So before the peaceful revolution, I practiced my constitutional rights and convinced Yemeni people that this is the only way to fight, to struggle for the human rights and for the any demands, legal demands that you want to. Yes, we are belonging to an armed society, own more than 70 million pieces of weapons, but we can't do it. It is not depending on weapons or in arms or in violence is the only solution to take your rights or to ask for your demands. There is another way. There is another way. Peaceful movement. Raise your voice. Go to the streets with flowers. Don't accept violence. And teach the people how to use non-violence by practicing demonstration and sitting. That was very, very, very hard in the beginning. Very hard. I was the only one, literally. I always the only crazy. Because the dictator, he called me, she's a crazy woman. Don't believe to this crazy woman. She's just a woman. Will the society follow her? but they don't accept the rule of women in general. What about a crazy woman going to the street calling people to be against me? This is what I exactly did. Went to the street, called Yemeni people to go to the street with me and to raise their voices and to save Yemen. I went to these Sana'a universities many times in front of the gate of the students. I told them, wake up, wake up, wake up, students. We have to save Yemen. We have to save Yemen. With a little microphone, they use it in Yemen just for selling tomato and potato. I was alone. Then millions of Yemeni people, women and men, followed my call for justice, freedom, equality, and democracy. Millions of them became leaders more than me. I just started the beginning of calling for freedom of expression, freedom of opinion, freedom of press, freedom of democratic rights, freedom of every people to access to the all basic rights like health, like education, fighting terrorism and fighting corruption. And the only weapons was me was I had, it was my pen and my microphone. Again, what did I do? I demonstrate citizen leadership through the Constitution. And this is what I'm calling you here, young men and women, and every citizen here, to practice your citizen leadership through your great, great Constitution. This is the Constitution. The Southern African Constitution. This is 25, the version, the new 25th anniversary. Now you are celebrating the 30th anniversary, and congratulations for South Africa for this great anniversary. And this is the best constitution in the world. You have to take care about it. When I practiced my citizen leadership through my constitution, I had some few articles that I was relying on. While all other articles was the dictator himself replaced them to be in his favor, to preserve him in the authority, and to deny any accountability against him. So just few very important articles I was relying on and depend on it through my constitution. What about you? You have a very important, a very great constitution made by the blood of your fathers, mothers, grandfathers, and grandmothers. This constitution, you should protect it. You should defend on it. You shouldn't feed up on it. You should care the hope that this constitution should be implemented every day, every minute, every second. This is your fight. So don't say that, no, what this constitution gave us, what democracy gave us. No. No, it is not the fault of democracy. It is not the fault of constitution. It is the fault that when they practiced half democracy and when they don't implement your great constitution. So this is the problem. So when I hear to some use some, oh my God, and unfortunately some They spread the hopeless emotions. No! You betray the blood of your grandfathers, grandmothers, your fathers, your mothers, and you yourself, and also your children and all the generation. When you experience any sense of regret or of doubt on your democracy or on your constitution. The only mission that you have to do, every people here, and especially the youth, that you have to protect South Africans' democracy. And you have to protect your constitution. And you have to be, as you inspire the people around the world with the non-violent movement, you have to inspire people also. How you defend on your constitution and how to transfer it from texts to be something real. Something real from your governments and from all the authority sections and from the citizens themselves. So work for the implementation of your constitutions. And don't let any legislator level or legislation level to make any or to write any rules that limit this constitution. And this is what happened in our countries. We have great constitutions, but the laws came against the constitution. So no, you have to be careful and to be aware about that. So observe your parliament, your legislative bodies, and prevent them on doing anything that limits your rights. So why your constitution is great? You have the most important, clear, and details of bills of rights that guarantee the economic, social, political, cultural rights. You have a very clear articles that guarantee the equality and prevent any kind of discrimination between people based on race, on ethnic, on color, on social position, on etc., etc. You have a clear article that guarantees the separation of the judicial system, and this is very important. So you have many things, and you have a clear articles, and this is very important, and this is one of the things that I struggled a lot for, and I'm struggling a lot for now, which is accountability. People who are in the power, they have to be held accountable by the people. Yes. Yes. So the accountability that is inside this constitution is something noticed. So from your president to your minister to all the high official people, you can hold them accountable through the parliament, through the judiciary system, through many tools. No one has immunity. You have a very good and strong legislations, which is this constitution. So again, do you hold them accountable? This is a very important question. Do you have any shortage in the constitution? No. Do you practice your rights to hold them accountable? Why there are a lot of corruption here in South Africa? because you don't practice your constitution very well. So, again, for the young people, you have a very strong basement to defend on Africa, on South Africa in particular, and to defend on your constitution. And you have a lot of tools, a lot of tools. And you have a lot of challenges, a lot of challenges. One of the challenges that you have, as I said, there is a gap between the implementation and the rights that you have in the constitution. So you have to do something to make this country great because it deserves it. There is another thing, which is the gap between the rich and poor. Not just in Africa, in South Africa, and everywhere. Everywhere in the planet. But here is more than any other place. This is what globalization came and gave us, unfortunately. While I support it, but the globalization gave us the big gap between rich and poor countries and people. And we have to do something to narrow this gap between rich and poor countries. And as I always call for, that those rich countries has to be forced with a binding mechanism through the UN or any other international body for a certain great percentage from their national income to the poor countries for development, for fighting poverty, for fighting climate change, for everything. But there is no, unfortunately, this binding mechanism, international binding mechanism, especially that with UN, they don't have that binding power. But here in Africa also, you have to narrow this very big gap between rich and poor people through any good mechanisms. That this mechanism should ensure the safety of the country and the stability of this country, and it may include the tax, a good tax for those people, or any implementation that will lead to redistribution the wealth to guarantee the social justice, access to all the services, especially the education and health. So, you have a very big victory in your history and in your current, but you have challenges. And who is the one who can do it? Who? Who? I want to see who. You should say, I am. You should say, I am. Feeling responsible for solving the problems around you is the key solution for all the problems in your society. Do you think that you are weak? That you don't have ability to do that? You're wrong. You're wrong, especially the youth, especially the young people. You have every potential to make change in South Africa, in Africa, in all around the world. You have it. You have to thank God, to thank everything around you if you are not believers. You have to thank the opportunities that you have, that we have now, under the rapid revolution of technology. You have social media, you have platforms, you have constitution. So you have it. So don't say that I can't do it. You can do it. I am a woman from a conservative city in Yemen. I started my journey alone. People was laughing at me and they think she's crazy. But I did it. still believing that I can do it. You know, after great peaceful revolution, when they took me to the prison and then released me, one of my friends, he's an European, he came to me and told me, he visited my organization and told me, Tawakkol, please, stop. You are alone. Don't do it. They will arrest you again. Yemeni people will not believe you, will not follow you. They are poor country. It's a poor country, and people in Yemen, they want just to eat. You will alone. You will die alone. You will die alone. I told him, Mark, listen. I see it. Believe me, I saw it. That I will lead the street in Yemen, women and men, to be in one chant against the dictator Ali Saleh. And when I go to the street and the revolution people, my voice reached to millions of Yemeni people, went to the street. We went to the tent. I sat in the tent 9 months. From February until his resignation in 11 November. Before that, I went to receive Nobel Peace Prize when they announced my winning. The dictator resigned in November 2011. Because not just believing on myself, not just believing on my leadership, because I also believed on Yemeni people. So don't underestimate your people. Don't say they don't understand, they are poor, they don't know anything. Oh my God, I am alone. No, you are not alone. But your voice didn't reach to them well. You are not alone. Convince them on their cause. Convince them on their purpose in the life. All Yemeni people went to the street with one chant to force the dictator to resign, and he resigned with, we didn't. Imagine, we have 70 million piece of weapons. We didn't use one bullet against the dictator. He resigned because of our singing, chanting, flower, and dying in front of all his violence. And after he resigned, the first mission we did is writing a new constitution. A new constitution that we were discussing the South Africa constitution. We were discussing this constitution as a model that we want to follow. And we did a great victory on that thing. We did a great transition period, regardless of all the mistakes that happened, or the shortages that happened. But we did that, and we wrote a great draft of a constitution. But what happened? What happened? Because those who are afraid from the constitution, from the strong protector of the society, this is the protector of the people. Those who are afraid from the strong, creating a strong protector of the people, they made a coup. They made a coup because they don't want us. It was just days. We will take that draft of constitution to the referendum. But they want to try to stop this very important step. And Houthi militia, who is a racist militia, they were and they still afraid from this constitution. They waged the coup, military coup. And when I read how South Africa suffered from discrimination from Yeah, from discrimination. We now in Yemen suffer from this kind of discrimination because of the Houthi militia. They are racist. They want and they are still practicing the rule of racism, dividing the country based on racism in the territory that they control. We are still in the struggle for our freedom, justice, democracy. We win in the battle against the dictator. Now we have another battle against the racist group. And we have another battle against the kind of occupation from Saudi and Emirates. And this is another challenge that face all the people who really struggle and dream for freedom and justice. It didn't come easy. Didn't come easy. So with our great revolution, it's now followed by the counter-revolution led by Saudi, Emirates, and Iran. Those three countries doesn't want democracy in Arab region. Doesn't want democracy. So democracy is the monster in front of all those authoritarian regimes. As I said yesterday, that democracy is the solution. It is the solution for freedom, for all, sorry, it's the solution for wars, for conflicts, for injustice. So we have to work very hard for this democracy. And another thing that we face as a challenge is the conspiracy from those outsiders. Western countries, from one hand, authoritarian countries from other, Western democratic countries from one hand, and authoritarian countries from one hand. Western democratic countries that they said they are the one who will protect democracy, they are the one who participate directly or indirectly with the dictators in our region. And the same thing that you are facing here in Africa. And one of the challenges that you are now facing the legacy of the colonial power, who protected those dictators. But again, and as I said yesterday, and I will repeat it today, so democracy doesn't have any clash with sovereignty. Democracy and sovereignty are two faces of one coin. So any one of these military coup leaders want to convince you that we make this coup against that regime or that because we want sovereignty. No. Tell them you are liar. Because you are not the solution. The solution should be based by you. You have to protect your democracy because there is no democracy under any rule of the military coup. And this is what we are facing now in our countries, by the way. We have a same experience in Egypt, for example. In Sudan, that now is facing civil war because of the military coup that make the conspiracy against the youth revolution. In Tunis, that has constitutional coup against the will of people. So you have to fight to defend for your democracy. You are the solution, not the military coup, not China, not Russia, not that the democrat Western countries that they said they will give you the democracy while they supported the dictators and help them, to steal your wealth. You have to make a good partnership with every country that really will serve with you the interests of your country. A partnership, not any kind of a new kind of slavery. Finally, here, with a great pride and great thanks to the South Africa as a country, as a people, as a government, as media, as organization, as everything in South Africa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting Palestinian cause. You did a great work when you have taken that bold step to trial or to persecute Israel from their crimes against Palestinian people. So that is very important. That is something really, really admirable for many, many things. For me, I was expecting this step from those countries who claimed that they are Democrat and they support democracy. But when it came from South Africa that suffered from many, many problems, that is really the real meaning of brave. This is the real meaning of solidarity. This is the real meaning of feeling to your other people, compassion. So I encourage you, I argue to be proud of this thing. Even, regardless you are from the ruling party or the opposition party, no, this is something you have to be so proud. And you, the generation that live now, you have to make your head high. Raise your head. Say, we belong to that generation that persecute Israel for their committing genocide against Palestinian people. You have to be proud. You have to be proud. And don't afraid. And continue this method. Continue this method. Now a lot of countries follow you. So continue this method. Injustice will not continue. The future of this world is with the justice, with freedom, with democracy. And believe me, as long as there is injustice, there is discrimination, there is tyranny, there is oppression, there will be great people, brave people who will stand in front of this and who will sacrifice and who will achieve justice, democracy, freedom, and rule of law. Thank you so much. Thank you. 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 Thank you.